Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Excel today. It is July 14th. We are on a Thursday, doing it old school, Joe.
I know it feels back to normal.
Back to normal, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, as if for any new viewers, we used to do the show every Thursday at 8 a.m., but it got really hard with both me and Joe's schedules. So we switched it up to just doing the show once a week, any day,
Whenever we can.
anytime. Yeah, whenever we had time to actually both meet up and do
It's
it.
a
But
surprise every time.
yeah,
It
it's a
makes it more
surprise every
interesting.
time. Well, I mean, like honestly, guys, we literally have to meet up on Fridays or even on Mondays just to get the show scheduled. Just because Joe's schedule is constantly changing and mine as well. It's just and if you don't know, our main thing is teaching live classes. So Joe is mainly
I'm
teaching live
always
classes a
training.
lot of the time. So just dependent on when the clients pull them in and everything like that, that kind of determines the schedule for the show. But uh, like I said, we promised one show a week and we've been doing it. So we're going to keep on doing it. Today is DAX part two. Everyone had so much fun last week with DAX. So we're back again. We're going to be building upon the work we did last time. Don't
Mm.
worry, the exercise files are there. So, like it's not like you have to rebuild everything we did last week. We're just going to do a deeper dive into that data. Um, Hi, Karnam. Hi, Blaze Katana. Thanks for joining us. I think I already
Hello,
said
hello.
hello to Blaze Katana earlier. Always great to see them on the show. Um,
Yeah, boys, you're always here. I appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah. And then let's see. Sorry, my mind just I have this happen every now and then. Like I have a thought, and then like I literally feel the train derail in my brain, and it's just never gonna come back. And that literally just happened right there. That's a little too early in the morning for me, I guess. I was just gonna jump into some quick channel updates, guys. We got the shorts coming out. You're gonna again. I think I said this last week. We're gonna up the amount to about two. So you'll get an Excel short in the morning, and then there'll be like an Adobe short or PowerPoint short in the afternoon. And then you can also watch those on Instagram or TikTok. Not too much else right now, channel wise. We have a ton of content. I say it every time, but guys, I literally have 63 videos that are already set, ready to go. You will see the Excel VBA video dropping soon. We're getting an editor for that today, and then
Ooh,
that one,
BBA.
once that one's finished, then you guys will. That one's going to immediately put up on the site. So just keep your eyes open. I'm not going to do too big of a like. We're not going to, it's just going to pop up and drop. It's not going to be on any scheduled release or anything like that. So you'll see 3 new videos pop up, and then we are getting to our full course videos. This is a kind of an exciting thing, I guess,
Oh, yeah.
for us a little bit. We're combining all of our videos into one giant video, so you'll start seeing those pop up on the site as well. Again, those will pop up when after the full video series premieres. The following Monday will be the full course. So, you don't have to switch between videos if you don't want to. I know some people like to have the whole thing so they can just keep coming back to the same video to finish up. But those are going to be really long videos, guys. So those are going to be,
They're like, yeah, yeah, like
6 to 8
probably
hours.
6 hours or something,
Yeah,
5 hours.
exactly. So, but yeah, we have a ton of stuff coming your guys' way. The summer of Office 2021 continues. It's going to be PowerPoint Advanced this Friday, and then after that will be Word, and then I think after that is Outlook. So yeah, be on the lookout for that, and then also the multi-tracking. There won't be any multi-tracking on this week's PowerPoint Advanced video. Again, the multi-tracking is that it'll be dubbed. You can choose to have the language play in Spanish. That service will be coming up on our shorts actually pretty soon, and then
Oh,
so you
wow.
can watch our
Yeah.
shorts either in Spanish or in English. But we'll also have we'll get those our larger videos done later. Just the service that we're working with, that our videos are so long that they couldn't handle the length of the videos, so we kind of messed up their AI a little bit. But that's part of being in a beta test and a beta program. You get to break things.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then I don't know if I announced this yet, but we are expecting to get Hindi as well. So if you guys want to have the videos dubbed in Hindi, that will potentially be coming towards the end of this year. I've been told many, many times that for sure they're going to have it before the end of this year. So, yeah, once that happens, you'll definitely see all our videos get dubbed into Hindi as well. So, things just to look out for. Those are the bigger things on the horizon. But yeah, that's all the channel updates for now. Nothing too major coming up, but yeah. that's it for the channel. So I hope you guys, you have a lot to look forward to and everything like that. I just want to say hello to everyone. Hatham, Paran, Karnam, good morning. Welcome to the show. But today, what mug do you got, Joe? Are they still in a box?
They're still in a box. I do have though this Yeti. It's actually my favorite because it just allows me to keep things cold or really hot. And once again, this is not me like
Yeah, not
promoting
paid
anything, so
advertising.
it's just a product I like.
Yeah. And then I got my
Oh
Thor pump. I think I've
no,
had this one on quite a few times. This is from the Thor, or from the Marvel Minnesota crossover quite a few years ago, actually.
that is
But
so
yeah,
amazing. Did you see the new Thor movie?
no, not yet. I didn't know it was out. I'm so bad at when movies come out, but I definitely want to check it out, especially
Me
if it's
too.
like Ragnarok. Ragnarok was so good. That's my favorite
Oh yeah,
Marvel movie, Ragnarok. Um, let's see. Yeah. So, anyways, that's it
love it. Yeah, all
for
right.
our updates and our mugs. Joe, I think I'll let you take over on DAX unless you had anything you wanted to
Um,
update people on.
no, I think yeah. Let's get into some DAX expressions. This will be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
and then
yeah,
one more thing just before we get started, guys. We will be using a new feature in
yeah.
the YouTube chat. You'll see some things come up about us asking for questions and a poll later on. And so it's the chat is actually be much more interactive. It's a new feature from YouTube, so we'll be using that today as well. So I'll be in the background running that while Joe's showing you stuff. So you guys might see some questions or some polls pop up. So please drop your questions and everything like that at that time and everything like that, and then we'll collect those and we'll use this new feature and see how it goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, it's
All
beta,
right, Joe, it's your time. Sorry, I keep grabbing the microphone here, so to speak.
beta, the virtual microphone. I'm
Virtual
using my computer mic.
mic.
All right. Yeah. Last week we had some fun with DAX expressions. Once again, DAX is data analysis expressions. If you didn't see the video, of course, you can go check it out. Part 1. So I'm going to share my screen here, and then let me know.
Good to go.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to go and use the DAX file that I created last time. I call it DAX file, but it's a Power BI file. And it might take a moment here to open up. But essentially, what I want to talk about today is using DAX expressions to do data mining, which is really important when you already have information, but you want more information. So last week, what we ended up doing was creating a couple of measures by using DAX. And we created this fun little KPI dashboard, if you will. And it works really well. We have like total hours, projected total hours, average hours, sales, staff, research, development, and then our current filter as well. So if we click on Connecticut, it'll tell us Connecticut, and then all of the KPIs for Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, which is great. But what I want to do next is create some sort of visualization that kind of tells me how many employees we had per year that we've hired. And then also we can be able to, let's say, see how many employees per division, things like that. But maybe I want to classify them as part-time or full-time staff members, right? So on my page 1, to rename a page, you just double click on it. I'm just going to call this my data cards. And I'm going to add a new page here. Now for this visual, like I said, we already have payroll information in here, but if you didn't have payroll information, you're more than welcome to load it into the system, and then you can, create based off of that. And if you don't know how to do that, once again, we can go through it right now real quick, but I will be having that on the last video as well. So I'll just show you real quick, if you just have the Excel file, how to pull this. So if you're just pulling the information, what you're going to do is right when you get in, you'll see the startup screen. You can close that out. You'll then import data from Excel because it is an Excel file. You're going to choose the Excel file, so wherever you saved it, and it should be called Payroll 2021 or whatever Ben dropped in that chat box there. We're going to connect to the data, and then we're going to see 2 data sets here. We'll see Canada and payroll. If you want to preview them, you could just click on them and see which one is our data, which I want the payroll data. But as I said before, normally you would load this into Power Query and make some sort of transformations. For example, getting rid of these nulls and updating your headers. All of this explained in the first part of this. But to make it easy, they did pull out some tables. They're like, Joe, we noticed that there was tables. I'll select payroll table 1. And look how nice and clean it is. So I will be using this. And this doesn't happen every single time you pull a DAX or pull in a query. So just keep that in mind there. And I'll just check mark the box and I'll click load. Now, once it loads this in, you'll see it over here in the fields. And that's where we're going to start off with the other file that I have created. And you can follow along with me if you like. So you'll see here table 1. And you'll see all of this information. But I'm just going to close this one out for myself because I already have this open. So with that said, let's say for this one, I do just simply want to see a couple of things. Like, for instance, I want to see how many employees I have per department. So I can create a quick visualization here by using the clustered column chart. I'll do department in the x-axis and the employee number in the y-axis, which will count it. And we get a nice little visual here. And then I also want to get here a gauge that tells me how many total hours there are. So I can click once again in the gauge axis and just take the employee number and put it into the values. And it'll count that. So how many employees I have. But if I wanted to, I can also delete this out, press the X, and put in my hours to see my total hours. And it looks just like this. And I'll put that over here. Now, of course, we can change this up. Like if you didn't like how it was in the middle here, you could go into the, I like to say, format your visual. And if you remember from my last session where we talked about the new interface of Power BI, we can go to this format and we can click on gauge access and maximize it to, instead of being 7.02, I may want to go with like 4100. Now it makes that a little bit different in terms of visuals. Now, what would be nice here is if I can just simply change this to show me the statistics and the visualization of employees that are full-time versus part-time. And right now we can't really do that, right? I mean, we could create like a filter on this page, and then we can do anything less than 36 hours. We'll consider full or part-time, anything over, but that gets a little weird, right? Because now you got to just kind of go through this filters pane. What we could do instead is we can actually go into the data itself. So let's say, for instance, I want to go over here to the data section. So you'll see right now we have our 3 sections. We have our section where we start off, we have our data section, and then we have our model section as well. All right. So right away, we're always in this section right here, the report section, but I do want to go over to my data section. And this will showcase your data. Now, because I have my measures that I created from last time, if you click on the payroll, if you have more than one query, just simply click on the one you want, and then you'll see the entire data set. So this is the data. This is the raw data here. And what I want to do is I want to figure out who is part-time and who is full-time, right? So I'm going to actually do what's known as data mining to pull the data out of this already pre-existing data. And sometimes you have to do that. For example, if I wanted to pull out who's full-time and part-time, I'm kind of wondering which one would I use? Like which information here would I use to get that information? Well, most likely it's going to be the hours, right? Because that will determine who's working the amount of hours. And then I can separate it using a DAX expression, which is exactly what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do first is I will click on new column, which can be found in the table tools tab. So right here, you'll see we have the new measures, which we used these last week, but we want this one right here, new column, because we want to add a new column here. So I'm going to click on new column. It's going to create the column, and then it's going to ask me to write a DAX expression. Now, just like we did last week with measures, the first thing we're going to do is name the column. So usually you would name the measure. Anything at all, you can name it. For this one, I'm going to call it FT slash PT, full-time slash part-time. I could have even wrote it out if I wanted to, but I want to make my column a nice size. I'll then do the space, and I'll do equals and another space. You don't have to do this. You could keep the equals like right next to it. I just think it looks messy that way, so I usually do a space in between so it looks nicer. And now I can write my DAX expression. Now, funny enough, this DAX expression is also in Excel. And as I said last week, a lot of DAX expressions do come from Excel because, well, Power BI, it used to be just an add-on in Excel until it became such a robust application, it became its own. So the if DAX expression is going to be perfect here because I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to say, okay, if the hours are a certain amount, well, if that's true, then make it full-time. If it's false, then make it part-time, something like that. So I'm going to use the DAX expression. We'll do if, tab on our keyboards, which is next to the Q, to open up that parentheses. And now we can ask about the logical test, which the logical test just means ask a question. So the question here is going to be, if the hours are greater than or equal to 36, we're going to mark that as full-time. If they're less than that, then they're part-time. But as I said last week as well, we can't reference a cell. This isn't Excel, right? We can't say if A2 through D47 is equal. No, there's no such thing. When you want to reference something, like for instance, a column inside of a query, you have to name the query first, and then you have to name what you want to pull, which column. And it's pretty, I actually like this more than Excel because I don't have to select anything. I could just query it. And if you turn your data in Excel into a table, you can do the same thing. But let's say the name of this query is payroll information. So I'm going to start typing in payroll. And look at that. It automatically populates a list and says, let's help you. Now it's going to say, okay, we have the payroll information. Here's all the columns. Which one are you looking at? And well, we're looking at the hours column. So I'll select payroll info, and the brackets will be hours. Now I'm going to say that if anything in this column is greater than or equal to 36 hours, if that's true, I'm going to put my comma. Now you'll see when I put the comma, it changes. So right here, you'll see logical test. That's what we were working on. So if I was in there, you'll see it kind of highlights logical test. This is a nice like mapping guide. If I put my comma, now it's going to say, what do you want to do if it's true? Well, if it's true, I simply want to write FT for full time. So I'll put that in a string of text because, well, Excel, anything Microsoft, Power BI, all of that stuff does not understand English. So I have to put it in quotes, FT. I'll put in the comma. And then I'll put in the quote, PT. And there we go. So if it's true, write FT. If it's false, write PT. I'm going to close my parentheses there. And when I press enter, look how cool that is. Immediately it starts saying, oh, 35.5, that's part-time. 35.5, that's part-time. 42, that's full-time. And now we have another column here that we can utilize in our visuals. So after I created this column, I'll go back to my report section and I can create a slicer with that FT/PT column we just created. And you can start to use them in the visuals. And now it's going to work perfectly. I'm just going to say, okay, let's look at full-time staff only. Okay, so my full-time staff have about 2,000 hours. My part-time staff, about 1,000. And there you go. So now we've created an awesome little column here. We can create a visual off of this based off of full-time. Like if I want to know how many full-time staff do I have versus part-time staff, instead of doing a slicer, I could do probably, let's just do pie chart. Why not? Let's take our full-time, part-time, and then let's take our employee number so it counts them. And look at that. Now we see a percentage, 41% is part-time, while 58% is full-time. So really cool that we can start to utilize and use data mining to get more information out of our original data set and then be able to create more visuals, which works perfectly. But with that said, I don't want to just end here on just that one DAX. I actually want to show you a DAX expression that will help us even further to analyze this data based off of dates. So I'm going to name this page 1. I'm just going to call this employee info, just like that. And I'll add another page here. And for this one, I'm thinking, yeah, we'll do dates. So for instance, we have this date of hire. And let's say that I wanted to use the clustered column chart, and I take date of hire, put it into the x-axis, and I just want to see how many employees I've hired in certain times. You'll see it works pretty well. We have the years in order. If we don't want to see the years, we can go down to quarters. If we don't want to see the quarters, we can go into months. If we don't want to see the months, we can go into days. But if you take a look, right, we have this here. This looks great. September, October, November, December. Everything is perfect in terms of the way it looks. But this doesn't always happen, right? You're going to notice that when you get data, depending on how the dates were put into the data, this might not come out as clean. So I do want to show you how to troubleshoot this just in case it happens to you, because this is one of the main questions I get. People say, Joe, my dates are all over the map. I mean, we have January, then we have April, then we have September. It's just not in an order that we want. So I'm going to show you how to use this. And we're going to do this by creating our own table with just date-related information. So the first thing we're going to do is go over to the data section, and we're going to go to table tools. And in the table tools, we're going to select a new table. Now, once we click on new table here, I'll give it a click. It's going to say, okay, what do you want to name this first? So you do want to name your table whatever you like. And I'm just going to call this table Joe, right? We can name it Joe if you wanted to. Now, the DAX expression used to actually create this table, because we need to start off with some sort of column. And since we're talking about dates, I do want to make sure that I use a calendar DAX. I'm going to type in calendar. And it's going to ask me for this calendar DAX expression 2 arguments. What is the start date? What is the end date? Now, I really want to see the first start date that anyone has ever started in my date of hire. So I want the most minimum date of hire that I have for the start date. And the end date, I want the maximum date of hire, because I don't want it to go past the date of hire that we're working with. So to do this, we're going to nest in here 2 more DAX expressions. And you might have heard of them. You probably have used them before. They're the minimum and maximum DAX expressions. So for my start date, I'm going to nest in the min function. And I want the minimum of my payroll date of hire right here, because that's going to give me the minimum date of hire. The first one that we've ever hired, it's going to start there. And then I'll put my comma. After I close the parentheses, make sure you close your min. All right, so you're going to do calendar, open parentheses, min DAX expression, select the minimum date of hire, and close the parentheses and put your comma. Now, the end date is going to be the max DAX expression. So I'm going to type in MAX, tab on my keyboard. And once again, I'll select the date of hire and close my parentheses. And then we're wrapping this all in the calendar. So I'll close my parentheses again for calendar. And you'll notice that Power BI is really amazing. It tells you that this closed parentheses is matching this one. So you'll see it kind of highlights them to know which one goes with which. And if I put in another closed parentheses, it'll say, okay, Joe, this one is matching the calendar one. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So it kind of guides you in that. And I love that feature. So now I'll click the check mark. And there we go. We have our first column, which is just the date column, right? Now, if you don't like the formatting, and remember, formatting means appearance, you're more than welcome to just simply grab this date. And once you click on it, you'll see you have column tools. And now I could click the drop down and choose a different formatting. So there's some common formats. I like short date. I'll click it. And now it looks cleaner for me. I mean, we're not using the time anyway. It just said 12 midnight anyway. So I'm going to use this formatting. Now we're going to start to build this table by using the new column right here button. And you can find that either in the column tools, you'll see new column, or table tools, you'll see new column. So whichever way you want it, they both do the same thing. Whichever one you want to click, you're more than welcome to. So I'll click on new column. And what I want to pull next is maybe I want to pull the year of hire, right? So I'm going to name this year of hire. And you might think, well, Joe, I know what DAX we're going to use. We can use the year DAX to pull the year. You actually don't have to. You could use the year DAX expression, but there's actually no point. Because when you pull a column that has a date in it, it's formatted as a date column, you can actually use these little argument tags that will allow you to pull information. Let me show you. For instance, we have the date of hire. So that's in the payroll query. I'm just going to type in payroll. Now, once you do payroll, once you start typing in like you want the date of the payroll query, so you'll just put in payroll information, what you'll then be able to do is pull the actual date of hire from that query. So the year of hire, instead of actually doing year of hire, I'm just going to do payroll. Let's see if it'll pull it up here. Let's do curly brackets instead. So usually when you do year of hire, what it will do is it'll pull up your date of hire immediately. For some reason, it's not pulling in the payroll information that I want it to. Usually this doesn't happen, but we'll see how this works when we type in the whole payroll info and then we match it with date of hire. Let's see if this will work. And what will usually happen is you'll be able to add a period to this and it will pull the information up. So for some reason, it doesn't look like it's going to work in our query here. But you know what? No worries. What we can do instead is we can pull the information from the other table from our date of hire payroll. So you'll see what I mean here. When we go over to the payroll information, and let's say I wanted to just add a new column here. I'll name it like, for instance, year of hire. And then right away, when you start typing in, you'll see it pulls up the payroll information here. So then I can click on like payroll date of hire, and then it'll give me the point arguments. For some reason, it's not allowing me to pull the payroll date information. So we'll take a look at why that's happening. It could be just some lag in the system. So most likely it'll be working for all of you on your end. But as you can see, it's not working for me, which it sometimes happens. So I'll do that again, new column. Let's see if this time it'll pull in. Yeah, that looks good. And then, yeah, it's still not going to pull it. Let's see if it'll pull it with payroll. No, it's totally ignoring the fact that I have this. So no worries. What we'll do instead here is we'll just reference the date column. So what I want you to do is whatever you named your table, for instance, I named mine Joe. I'm going to just go off of the date from here. All right. So we will click on Joe date column, which could be a little confusing if you named it like date column or something like that, because then it'll say like date, which is what I did not want to show you, but it's okay. Hopefully you all named it your first name and then date, or if you named it Joe and date, you're more than welcome to use it. So we're going to just go off of this date column here. We'll say Joe date, and then we'll simply select the day, the month number, the month, the quarter number, or the quarter or the year. Now I want to just choose the month. I want to see the month of hire or the year of hire. Then we can select year. When I press enter, it will just bring out all the years. And we can continue to do this the same way. New column. We're going to reference our first column there. So I'm going to call this month of hire equals, and then I'll pull the Joe date again. I'll do Joe date. And you'll see now it's adding another column that you can pull from. But we're going to just continue to use Joe date. And then we'll select the month. And then we'll press enter. And now we have the month of hire. We'll do the same thing. We could keep building this table out. New column, name it. I'm going to call this month number. And I'm going to say that the month number is equal to Joe date. And we want the month NO, which is the month number. Now, a lot of people ask me, Joe, what's the purpose of the month number? And this is what the purpose will be. The first thing I'm going to do here in order to make this work with our previous visuals is create a relationship. Remember, when you're using two different data sets, you have to create a relationship for them to work. So I'll go into the model section. You'll now see payroll info, my measures, but you'll also see the Joe table that we created. Now, the relationship between these two is going to be the date of hire to the date, and it should create a many to one relationship, which it did. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go over, now that there's a relationship, to the report section, and I'll build the visual just the same like I did before. I'll do month in the x-axis, and then I'm going to do employee number in the y-axis. The only problem that people run into when they do this is take a look at the way that this is sorted. April, July, October, September. It's not working right. And even if you go to the three dots here and you do a sort in ascending, it still won't work right. Even if you do a sort by month of hire, it's still not going to work because it's going by alphabetical order. So in order for this to work, the reason why the number column here is important is because I can select month of hire, and there's this button called sort by, and you can sort one column by another column. So I'll click sort by month number, and now this entire column is going to be sorted by month number. And when I go back, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So it's in perfect order. But with that said, that's just a couple of things that you might run into. So you do want to make sure that if you're not able to make your months in a nice sequential order, just use a new table, create one, go off of the date. If you can pull from the other query, which obviously today it wasn't working for me, that'd be great. But if you have to pull off of the same query like we did here, where I had to pull Joe date, just make sure you have it not like date, because it starts to get a little confusing, which is why I never showcase it this way, but it's okay. But with that said, that's it. That's our DAX part 2. So we've used DAX expressions to data mine, and we've used DAX expressions to build out a table from scratch, which is pretty amazing. And we could just keep going and building onto this date table. But with that said, thanks everyone. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. A lot of fun information there.
Yeah, we gave him some bonus content. We went into overtime there.
Oh yeah.
Lots of stuff there. Um, we cannot fully cover DAX.
Yeah.
I saw that as a question. That would be, there is a ton of expressions and stuff like that.
Probably like 500.
Yeah, 500. Maybe we'll make shorts of those, but but yeah, there's no way we could cover DAX in 30, like fully in 30 minutes. But that being said, we did want to try out again some of these new features in the live chat there. So we're gonna let you guys decide what our next show is going to be about. So I'm going to drop a poll here real quick. So just give me 1 second. So you're going to see 3 options you can choose for the next show. I'm just going to end the Q&A.
Everyone, just to give you a little fun thing here, though, you know what would be really cool? If we do Power Apps integration with the Power Automate. But that's going to be one of the choices. So if you really want to see that, that's a lot of fun. They created in Power Apps a new pane for Power Automation, so you don't have to constantly leave Power Apps to go to Power Automate application. Now you can do it all in one. So it's really amazing. I use it all the time now.
Yeah. So just in the chat there, select the topic you'd like us to cover. Let's take a look at some of these live results. Let's see, Power Apps is leading the way right now. Yeah, so the power is in your guys' hands of what you want us to cover next. Just a few votes coming in. So we'll give it a minute here real quick. Just wrap some stuff up here real fast. Again, if you guys liked what you saw today, please like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps us out tremendously. You guys have no idea how much that really helps out any channel that you want to support or anything like that. Just the power of the likes and the comments. It really does. it is the best way to support us outside of
Oh
letting
yeah.
people know about us as well. Word of mouth and sharing the channel and everything like that and subscribing.
Tell
Those
all your
are
friends.
huge. Yeah, exactly. It helps us to continue to make more and more videos for you guys and everything like that. I did want to add on the coding side of things. I'm reviewing some instructor demos to see who's going to be doing the next coding stuff for us. Again, this would be more related to Python and some other languages like R and Go as well. Stuff we're looking to get added to the channel. I'm not going to say right away. That's going to be something that's going to be a little bit further away, but you might see some Python shorts start popping up and stuff like that. Um, let's see. Is there a Learn It video that covers all of DAX? Let's put that up. I don't think we have one video just dedicated to DAX only. It's something that's covered partially in the Power BI series, but there isn't like a dedicated video for just DAX. But that's actually a great idea for a
Yeah.
video. I'm actually going to put that one down just because uh, we've seen a lot of traction for people wanting to learn more and more about just the DAX expressions itself. And again, that's probably something that's going to turn into a shorts, shorts thing. Look
Most
forward to
likely, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, DAX are just as amazing as functions. Some of them, yes, less used. They're always coming out with new ones, and they're adding to that pool of just DAX expressions. Some of them you'll be like, ah, I'll never use this in my entire life, but some of them you'll be like, oh, maybe that could be a solution to one of the problems I'm having. But yeah, there's so many different DAX expressions. I mean, it's amazing how many there are.
thanks for the question, Blaze Katana. Yeah, so let's see. I'll give it one more minute on the voting for the topic next week. Let's see. Is there anything else that the channel wise, that I can come up with? Not really, not too much. Uh, Joe and I will probably be seeing each other in September. So, oh, you know what? That might actually be pretty good, Joe. We do the show live from New York.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that would
especially yeah,
actually be pretty good.
special.
So, yeah, in September, guys, we might be doing the show jointly from New York. So keep a lookout for that in September. No, no promises on that, but I think that would be pretty cool. So, anyways, yeah, let's wrap up the voting here. We got 7 votes. Let's see. We got more DAX, 14%. Let me go ahead and end the poll real quick. Power Automate and Power Apps at 43%, both at 43%. So
Let's combine them.
let's combine them. Yes. So we're going to do Power Automate and Power Apps next week. So there you go. It's a tie. So
We'll
we'll
have
do
so much fun.
yeah, exactly. We couldn't have planned that better, Joe.
I
Honestly,
know it worked perfectly.
it worked perfectly. That kind of was our idea for next week's show, but it worked out. We were going to go whatever direction you guys wanted us to go
You
in,
all
but
wanted, yeah.
that works out. I guess we know our audience.
Yeah, yeah. This is gonna be so much fun. I love power apps, but with that said, I think yeah, we're way over time, but I
We're
hope
way over time. Yes. So, guys, have a great weekend.
Bye.
Again, PowerPoint 2021 Advanced is tomorrow. But yeah, have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.